Hello and welcome to Children's Time. It's good to be with you again this week. Well, this week and next week, we're going to hear about some of the miracles and healings that Jesus did while he was living out his ministry. So first, we're just going to read a little introduction to Jesus' healings and miracles from Growing in God's Love, a Story Bible. And then we're going to read a story about Jesus healing a woman on the Sabbath. Healings and miracles. Sometimes we wonder what is alike and what is different from being a follower of Jesus today. The Bible has a lot of stories about people who were healed or miracles that happened. When you read them, it makes you pause and think, do those kind of things still happen today? All kinds of differently abled people came to Jesus. They wanted to touch him. They wanted his healing presence. Women who were ill, men who couldn't walk, parents who wanted healing for a child who was sick, a man who was blind and wanted to see. They all sought Jesus' help in healing. They all came to him believing that with his help they could be healed. They came with their bodies as they were, and they also came with faith and hope in how Jesus could help them. There were others who were with Jesus when something happened that we can only call a miracle. There was a large and hungry crowd following Jesus, and all that was in sight was a child who had his lunch. And it was enough to feed everyone. Another time, the disciples were in a boat with Jesus when a terrible storm came up. And Jesus spoke, and the waters were calm again, and so were the terrified disciples. Miracles and healings still happen today, but maybe in ways that are different from the times when Jesus lived. Sometimes sick people are cured, and sometimes they are not. When they are not, we still know God's healing is with us. People help heal our hurt with love and the loving things they do. When we hear these stories, we remember our faith, our hope, and our prayers for miracles of healing, just like the people that Jesus met. Now we're going to hear a story about Jesus healing a woman on the Sabbath. This story comes to us from the Gospels. Remember that the Gospels are the first 4 books of our New Testament in our Bible: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And this story comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 13, verses 10 through 17. Jesus heals a woman on the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a day of rest for the Jewish people. In the time of Jesus, there were many customs about honoring the Sabbath as a day of rest. Rules about both what one could do and what one could not do to honor the Sabbath. In this story, Jesus raised a question about healing on the Sabbath. Jesus was teaching in the synagogue on the Sabbath. A woman was there in the crowd. She could not stand up straight because her back was so bent over. She had been like this for 18 years. Jesus saw her and said, "Woman, you are free." Then he put his hands on her, and slowly, very slowly, she was able to stand up straight. Finally, she was able to see faces, not feet. She saw Jesus. "I am healed," she said. "Hurrah, God!" The leader of the synagogue was not pleased. He rushed over to Jesus. "You should not have healed her on the Sabbath. Today is the day we rest." He was very angry that Jesus had broken the Sabbath rule. He wanted the crowd gathered in the synagogue to hear with him and agree with him. You can work 6 days a week, but no one should do any work on the Sabbath, and that includes healing. But Jesus said, "Do you feed your animals on the Sabbath? Do you take them to get clean water to drink? Animals need food and water every day. This woman has been walking bent over for 18 years. She needed to be healed. After Jesus spoke, the leader and the crowd felt terrible. They knew Jesus was right. The crowd was happy because Jesus was doing many wonderful things for people. The Sabbath day was a day of rest for the Jewish people. It was in their laws that everyone had to obey the Sabbath day. No one was allowed to work or do anything on that day. And it was in the law because God told the people to take a day for rest and a day to give thanks to God. And that was part of their week. They would take a day off and rest and give thanks to God. And this law was intended to help people, to give people time to rest and relax and sort of regain everything they needed to go back for another week of work. And so when this man at the synagogue comes to Jesus and is mad at Jesus for healing on the Sabbath, he's angry because Jesus did break one of their laws. And Jesus, he says that it's not against the law to heal on the Sabbath, because really that's part of what the Sabbath is for, to bring healing to people who need it, so people can get time to rest and relax and heal their bodies from a whole week of work, so that they can go back out and keep serving God in the week to come. And Jesus points out that healing is important any day of the week. This Sabbath law is meant to help people. And sometimes when laws are made or enforced, we end up not helping people. And so Jesus points out that since the intention of the Sabbath law is to help people rest and be healed, that healing someone on the Sabbath, especially someone who was sick and hurt for 18 years, that was something that was important to do. And Jesus also points out in this story and in other stories in his ministry that there are times when helping people is more important than keeping the law. Jesus continues to teach that the law was supposed to be created in order to help people, to bring life to people. And sometimes some of the way that the authorities in the Bible were enforcing the law didn't always do that. Sometimes it actually hurt people. And Jesus said that's not good, and that's not what God intended with this law. So what we can learn from this story is that helping people is really important. And we can help people in a lot of different ways. We can pray for people. We can show people love. And we can do things for people to help them. Maybe someone's lonely and we can send them a card. Maybe someone's hungry and we can bring them some food. Maybe someone just needs a friend and we can be that friend to them. When we follow Jesus, we know that it's important to make sure that people are helped who need it. And that's part of showing God's love to others. So take some time to think about who you could help, who might need your help. Or even if you know someone that needs help, but it's more than you can give, maybe you can talk to a friend or a parent or a grandparent or any adult to help you get them the help they need. And we can remember that Jesus is always with us to give us help when we need it. We can always pray and ask for whatever it is that we need help with. Jesus will be right there with us, walking with us, holding us close, and loving us no matter what. Will you pray with me? Dear God, thank you for always being with us. Thank you that we can ask you for help. Help us to pay attention for others who need help. And help us know what we can do to help them. Thank you for always loving us. Amen. Thank you for joining with me on Children's Time. I'll see you again next week.